work situation has changed quite a bit with technology, but I'm not sure if it's for the better in a lot of cases.
If I was a worker and somebody, you know, doing this really boring job, I'd much rather have a computer come along and take my job, as long as there was a job available elsewhere that was, you know, better conditions, more interesting type of work.
I think technology's great, and it's just the way it's being used.
From the top of Crown Street to the bottom, putting my name on different places, you know, shops and stuff like that. Got no reply, and I just kept going to CES and that, and I gave up because I thought, no way I'm going to get a job, because I thought I was going to have a car and a house and all that bollocks. But I found out it was heaps different than what I thought it was going to be.
School just doesn't prepare you for that sort of stuff. At school you're taught that when you finish school you'll either go to university or you'll get a job. There's no sort of questions asked about how you're going to go about getting a job, what sort of job you're going to get. It's just, yeah, you'll get a job, no worries. And then as soon as you actually go and try and get a job, then you suddenly find out what's really facing you, that it's just not on. There's at least 30 people going for every job that's out, and most of them are far overqualified for the jobs that they're applying for. And of course employers are going to take people who have the most qualifications.
In many cases the jobs aren't there. I mean, the jobs aren't in banks for 16-year-olds anymore. The proportion only 4 or 5 years ago of school leavers taken up by the banks was 4%. It's now down to 1% and declining. The job's not there in the post office, in the public sector, in the places that were bridges. The jobs are not there in the electrical crafts, in many of the mechanical crafts where people could enter apprenticeships, mainly due to economic depression in some areas, but also due to the introduction of technology, which has wiped out those sorts of skills.
Sun, surf and sand. Ever imagined what it would be like to work for one day and play for 6? Well, the golden age of computer automation is just around the corner.
I think most people like computers for the good things that they bring, but, you know, don't like the fact that computers are, in a lot of ways, stopping people communicating between each other.
Now machines can think, there's no end to the things they'll do for us. And without pay, too. There'll be no need for the worker in the factory of the future.
I mean, I think the question of leisure is rather misleading, because to me it seems like the question of leisure is about how much money you've got, and people talk about leisure rather than unemployment, because it's not very nice to not have work if you don't have much money to enjoy the time with. So I never talk about leisure, I talk about unemployment and work.
A new age is coming, which brings with it the promise of a free and prosperous future. And after all, wasn't life meant to be easy?
Well, I think one of the misconceptions is that technology just de-skills people, takes away skills, and there hasn't been much focusing on the new skills that are created. And for example, now computer programming is a whole new occupation with a whole new set of skills that didn't exist 20 years ago, and a lot of people are now in that sector and it's expanding. And one could say the same for a whole lot of areas, that there are new skills and enjoyable things to learn and good kinds of work.
And what sort of work do you want to do when you come out of school?
In electrical engineering.
That'll mean working with computers and things like that, won't it?
Yeah, definitely.
So are you used to working with computers? Have you done any of that before?
Yeah, I'm into computers. Yeah, I've got an Apple. I basically play around with it a bit.
Okay, well tell me about your computer. Do you use a computer?
Yeah, I do. I've got a personal one at home just for programming, basics. It's not really that great, you know, but it's a good start. It should lead me on to bigger and better things.
We're for computers. Computers are good.
Well, what do you like about computers?
Basically they're very creative. With computers you can do many things, right? It's not sort of set with one particular direction. You can just sort of program in anything you want, really. Yeah, they're good.
I work in a computer company.
You work with computers?
Computer supplies, things for computers.
Do you know how to use a computer?
Basic data entry, yeah. That's about it.
So what do you think about computers? Do you think they're a good thing or what?
I don't like them, no.
Why not?
I don't know, I just rather do things myself than go into a computer to use, you know, rather use my own brain.
Statistics, accounts, just a bit of everything, word processing, the lot.
Is it easy to use a computer?
Yeah, it is. At first it isn't, but then it only takes just playing around with it and then you're right.
So you're pretty comfortable using new technology now?
Yeah. Anything new is good fun to learn.
So a way for a 16-year-old school leaver to, in a sense, train him or herself up through work and through part-time study. A lot of those avenues are now closed off for people, and that may lead them to decide that they might want to stay on at school, they might want to take the short-term pain and go to university or a CAE or a TAFE, and I really think that's very much an individual decision for them. But for many working class kids, I think it's important that they look at that option because they represent a class, a people who are really on the receiving end of this stuff. And that class and that group of people in society need their advocates from out of their own ranks.
For example, in car factories, people who used to work on assembly lines are now being replaced by those Japanese robots that, you know, put cars together, and, you know, spot welding's done by machine now rather than people. A lot of manual, repetitive tasks are now being taken over by computer.
Working on assembly lines is a lousy job and it's no way to spend the life, you know, and if you can get machines to do it, then that's a choice, that's great. It then leaves people free to do the more interesting parts of work, the more creative, the more artistic things that computers will never be able to replace, you know. A computer can type, but it can't write a book, and a computer can create pictures, but it can't actually draw them itself. It's always got to have you giving the creative input.
I prefer people to machines. I'd prefer to interact with a person, even if it's somebody who works in a bank, than I would with a machine. I like people.
I used to think that they were really... I didn't think I'd like them. I thought, you know, the whole world would be taken over by computers and, you know, there wouldn't be any people. But no, it's not like that because, you know, they're only machines. It's people that control them. In a better society, I think they'd be put to much better uses.